They're ready in Columbus, man. They may be cold, but they are ready. And this wonderful rivalry has produced Woody and Bo, a 10-year war. 10 Heisman winners, one of them's right down there, and 18 national champions. There is always something on the line, always something at stake in the game. Mark, the biggest storyline this year is what for you?
It's about pride. It's about taking ownership for these Buckeyes, taking ownership back in this rivalry. Because it's been 5 years to this day that the Buckeyes have beaten the Wolverines. 5 years to this day. What they had to do, they had to sit back and watch Michigan win 3 straight big titles. They had to sit back and watch Michigan go on an undefeated, legendary national title run. But today, these Buckeyes got the best roster in college football. They get the Wolverines in Michigan. They get the Wolverines in the horseshoe. And they're going to try to hang up 100 on the Wolverines today.
Did you go here?
Whoa. I did not.
He just said 100.
Wow. They're going to try to hang up 100 on your Wolverines today.
The way you just came out of the box, man, I'm disappointed.
I told you what was going to happen.
I'm disappointed, man.
I said y'all was going to be unranked by this time.
You giving these people too much love down here, man.
Hey, man, they show me love. Yeah, I love the people.
All right, guys, listen. Here's a storyline I got. The Wolverines are a shell of themselves. They have more losses this year than the last 3 years combined. They've lost 4 of the last 6. One of the best teams in recent history. They get 13 players, 18 starters leave. But then you do your – how in the world did they fall so far? You do your research, and it's very obvious now. On December 4th to January 2nd last year was the transfer portal. The Wolverines were fighting for a national championship. Their head coach, Jim Harbaugh, was messing around with the NFL. Was he going to leave? Is he going to stay? He leaves, takes 4 coaches with him. Why would a recruit come to the Wolverines when everybody's uncertain? Right. How about this? 23 of the 25 top transfer quarterbacks were gone by the time Sharon Moore became head coach January 26th. So it makes a lot of sense. It's a different animal now. He's going to start recruiting because he has time. But now I know what happened to the Wolverines. That's the fall.
It's crazy how things can change in just a year's time, Coach. But my storyline for this matchup, you know this better than anyone else. It's all about Ryan Day. I mean, this is arguably the biggest game in his career because we know what happens when you don't win this rivalry enough. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. I grew up through the John Cooper era, and that ultimately ended up being his demise. So it's been 5 years in the making. And Ryan Day's put together one of the most incredible careers for a sort of head coach ever. I mean, in his first 75 games, only Chris Peterson has won more games. He's 66-9. It's just, of those 9 losses, 3 have come to that team up north. And that's what's on the line today, is what happens now moving forward. If the Buckeyes, I think we all look at them and say, with the exception of Charles, they look to be the better team. But if it doesn't happen today, what happens next? You've got an athletic director that's not responsible for hiring him. So a lot of questions would emerge from today's matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to give Michigan a little bit of love here. And I think, look, the biggest question for them is just how on earth do they pull off this big upset against a team that wants revenge, a team that's gotten beat multiple years in a row. And I think when you look at this game, there is one key matchup that I think Michigan has an advantage. It's up front. We know the winner of this game usually dominates the line of scrimmage. Ohio State's offensive line, seen as a weakness for this group, the running game, whether it's injuries, depletion. Michigan's strength on that defense is up front. Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant in the interior, maybe 2 first-round draft picks. So can those guys do enough, Charles, to impact this game to keep it close?
Yeah, and I think my storyline, just to piggyback off what you said, is that we're 20-point underdogs. You know what I'm saying? We came down here in 1996, and Lloyd Carr told us we should be nobody's underdog. And so for this team, coming off of a championship, coming off the last 3 years, the way we played in this game, coming down here 2 years ago when they said, remember when the sun came out and everybody said, oh, man, Ohio State's going to throw the ball all over the field against Michigan. It didn't happen. And so this team, listen, we have pride. This is the game. Like, forget all of the stuff that's happened this year. Forget our record and how things have gone. This is the game. These guys have pride. They're going to come here ready to play, ready to compete. And like I said, man, I feel good about what I'm going to see out there today. So I do. Because I understand everybody's against us. Everybody feels like we're down. But guess what? This is the game.
Yeah. I saw you down there taking those receipts when Urban was talking and Mark was talking. Just keep storing them away, Charles.
Yeah,
got about 3 hours.
I'm writing Mark's name down.
Yeah. Mark brought it. He said he's on the naughty list right now.
They're going to try to. I already said they're going to do it. They're going to try to. For sure.
Mark, Ingram. You ain't getting nothing for Christmas.
You ain't sent me no whiskey.
You ain't getting nothing either.
That's messed up, too. I told you what was going to happen a week.
We're going to welcome in Jenny Taft, who's part of today's broadcast, and Michigan dealing with injuries to some of their stars that are destined for the NFL. What's the latest, Jenny?
Well, Rob, obviously the big question mark for this game is whether or not cornerback Will Johnson and tight end Colston Loveland will be available. What I can tell you, I was in Ann Arbor on Sunday sitting down with head coach Sherrone Moore, and you know the two players that were waiting to talk to their head coach after our interview? Will Johnson and Colston Loveland. I do want to quickly address the narrative that maybe these two would be choosing not to play. That is completely false. Coach Moore told me that Will Johnson has been beside himself given the toe injury that's kept him out the last 4 weeks. I also had a conversation with Colston Loveland on Thanksgiving. He wouldn't confirm or deny if he'd be playing, but he told me this game means everything. This is about your legacy. It's going to come down to who wants it more. But Rob, I'm going to be honest, after a conversation I had just this morning with someone close to the program, I am less likely that we will see either of them. I will be watching warm-ups very closely and keep you posted on the latest.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.